Good Sunday morning, I'm Jaden Jefferson, and welcome to this week's Community Focus. On this week's show, I'm joined by Thomas Winston, the President and CEO of the Toledo-Lucas County Port Authority, to discuss Issue 28. Take a look.
Thank you certainly for having me here to talk about the Port Authority and the work that we do for the community. We're excited about all of the ways that we touch this community in so many different ways. The Port Authority work encompasses not only the seaport and working at the airport. We use this tagline of more than a port because amongst other things that we do, we provide access to capital to the community to help foster development in the community. So what we are generally doing in this particular cycle is going to the community. We have a levy that's on the ballot, and that levy really supports our reinvestment back into the community. We do that and we use the funds primarily for two reasons. One, we use it for a community economic development initiative we have, which helps nonprofit organizations in the community really help with their fixed assets and help them develop their particular organization. So we're really happy about the work that we do on so many nonprofits that touches the entire community. We also use those funds to help reinvest back in the community through our port programs, particularly our financing programs, as well as reinvestment into our assets, such as the Port of Toledo, as well as the airport and other facilities that help with job creation and help foster just a better community for Lucas County. So we're certainly excited about that. We're excited about the things that we have done over the last 5 years since the last campaign, which incorporates bringing an Amazon air operation to the airport back in 2021 that has created over 110 jobs for our community. We're happy about the work that we do, turning what we call brownfield locations, which is where old facilities and manufacturing companies have left the town, and redevelop those particular facilities to help foster economic development. And as well as the financing activities. We have a lot of financing activities that help small and large businesses, both private and public side, to again, help foster economic development for our community, helps create jobs, and help reinvesting to make our community a more vibrant community.
And obviously, Toledo is a mid-sized Midwest city. We're not talking about a coastal city, but there is still a lot of economic activity that happens here. And so kind of bring me an idea of where some of the bigger investment happens when we have kind of this trade route here in Toledo.
Well, one of the things, you're right, we're not a coastal city, but our geographical location makes it an ideal spot for businesses and also individuals to relocate. We're in the Midwest. And generally here in Toledo, within a drive, you can capture, I would say, 50% of the U.S. population within a drive radius, as well as 60% of the Canadian population. So that's an attraction. We have I-75 and we have I-80 and 90, the turnpike. And that holds a strong attraction, particularly the businesses that we talk to who are looking to capture a broad spectrum of North America. We also have a benefit being here in Toledo is we have a great workforce, and particularly a workforce that has specialization, particularly in manufacturing and automobile industry. And we really try to leverage that workforce and talk to businesses that play in that space to attract them here, to grow that particular workforce. But it's also important to look at diversifying the workforce as well. And with our strong work ethics here, our geographic location, it makes it very conducive for businesses who want to be here in Toledo to be able to service their customer base across the nation. So we work with a lot of partners to try to foster that, private side, public side. There are a lot of what we call public-public partnerships and public-private partnerships to help foster an ideal to attract and also retain businesses to help young professionals like yourself and others to want to make Toledo and Lucas County an ideal space, not only to grow up in, but also to return and stay to work in that environment.
And what role will this levy play in building that future? Obviously, a lot of work has happened now, but What are we looking at 5 years, 10 years, maybe even 20 years out?
We want to help foster an environment that's helping growing this region. So our levy generally produces $2.5 million for us. It's very important to know that our levy does not support our day-to-day operation and salary. Our business activity does that. Our levy goes into supporting programs for the community and financing program to help businesses create and retain jobs here. So for 10, 15, 20 years, we want to make it ideal for businesses to want to relocate, for an example, to what we call the Overland Industrial Site off of I-75. That was the former Jeep site until they moved about 3 to 5 miles north. And we turned that site into a site where now we have multiple businesses that have created 1,500 new jobs in our community. We want to continue to foster an environment to make it conducive for businesses to want to be here and stay here. So we'd like to use proceeds and the community help to help foster job activity, but also to help from an educational standpoint, investing in places like the airport, where we not only have an Amazon air operation, we have the Ohio National Guard. Between our seaport and the airport, it fosters over 11,000 jobs for this community and has a $1.5 billion economic impact combined. And we need to really help sustain that and grow that. And in addition to the workforce that we have, particularly at those locations, at the airport, we also have two aviation schools to help individuals. We have the TPS Aviation School to help students from 8th grade to 12th grade look at opportunities to grow and be able to do aviation maintenance on any aircraft in the world. And we have individuals who are 18 who are leaving that program and making 60, 70, $80,000 because of their certification in that particular program. And as a result of the success of that program, we launched a couple of years ago a new program for adults called the Federal Aerospace Institute, FAI, that's providing the same certification for individuals to learn how to do maintenance on aircraft and be able to work on any aircraft in the world. Those are some great opportunities, great opportunities. So we want to be able to continue to create those opportunities for our community.
Would it be accurate to say, as technology has developed, as the community has changed shape and size, that the Port Authority's role has grown?
I think that that is very accurate. It has grown, and it has grown because we have leveraged the best of technology to help foster an environment to make our community grow and be able to move in our new century. We're using technology every day, and the best way to communicate. This mechanism that you and I are talking through, I think, is an example of that. We're using it to reach out to people to inform them of things that we are doing at the airport, at the seaport, and many of the buildings that we own, but also using that to communicate things as it relates to our financing program. We also own the MLK, the train station, and opportunities that may present themselves there. It is important to use that technology to grow and also to make the community aware. It's a great resource, and we need to embrace it, and we've embraced it here.
And obviously, we've talked a lot about economic development and business. And for a lot of companies, this is quarter 4, which means that they're partly preparing for next year. So, can you kind of offer some insights into what next year is going to look like for the Port Authority and for the community at large?
We're excited for looking into 2025. I just met with the team today, and we're putting together our budget for 2025, but also discussing what our goals and initiatives are. 2024 has been a historic year for us in our financing. We've launched new programs. We've had a record year in our bond fund program that provides access to capital to businesses. And we've helped businesses locally, such as the YWCA, Midwest Terminals at the Port of Toledo. We've also been involved in projects with the Glass City Center downtown here in Toledo. we're very excited about many of the things that we're doing. So right now we're having discussions with businesses who want to use our financing in 2025. I believe that that's going to lead to another great year for us as we look into 2025. We recently purchased some land that we are looking to redevelop to create new jobs for the community. So I think there will be a lot of discussion and announcements as it relates to the utilization of that land and having new tenants on that land. And we're looking to partner. No one ever does things alone. So one of the things that we pride ourselves on looking at partners, whether it's on the public side and the private side and in the community, we're always looking at ways to collaborate and partner because together we're stronger than we are, as opposed to doing things individually. So we're always looking at ways to find partnerships with existing partners, but also new partners under the idea of how do we move this community forward. So we're excited about the things that we are considering for 2025 and beyond. And I think the assets that we have, the programs that we have, and our willingness to partner and work with others will make this a brighter community.
And just to think that 2025 is next year, I mean, that already is just a shock in itself. Well, I appreciate you joining me and coming on the show to talk about the levy.
Jaden, thank you so much for having me and giving me this opportunity